Basically, when it comes to environmental engineering, it comprises of water supply engineering, wastewater engineering, air pollution and noise pollution control, and the solid waste management. Now in this video, we are going to see some 10 important questions from water supply engineering under the module water demand and sources of supply. Let's get into it. First question is, main supply pipes, or that is water mains, are designed for option A, maximum hourly demand. Option B, average hourly demand. Option C, average annual demand. Option D, maximum daily demand. So there are variations with respect to the demand. We can classify those demand as maximum hourly demand, average annual demand, and MDD, maximum daily demand. So what is that demand that is usually used to design main supply pipes or the water mains? Just think for it for 10 seconds and get the correct answer. So the correct answer is option D, MDD, maximum daily demand, is used to design main supply pipes or water mains. Now let's see some more important points and their uses. Maximum daily demand is given by 1.8 times the average daily demand. 1.8 times the average daily demand is nothing but the maximum daily demand, and it is used to uh, calculate or design water treatment units, water treatment units and wells and tube wells. So water treatment units are designed for 15 years design period. Wells and tube wells are designed for 30 to 50 years. These are some of the typical design periods of their units. Maximum hourly demand (MHD) is nothing but 2.7 times average daily demand, average hourly demand actually, because this is a hourly demand. That's why Q by 24, or we can say 1.5 times MDD divided by 24. So 1.5 into 1.8 gives 2.7. So that's why 2.7 into Q by 24 or 1.5 into MDD by 24. This is the MHD, maximum hourly demand. And what is maximum weekly demand and monthly demand? It is an most underrated demands, but we can learn. Maximum weekly demand is 1.48 times average weekly demand. When it comes to monthly demand, it is 1.3 or 1.28 times the average monthly demand. And there is something called coincident draft. Coincident draft is nothing but the maximum of MDD plus fire demand or MHD. So what is the maximum of these two? We will get that answer as that draft as coincident draft. So coincident draft is nothing but the maximum of MDD plus fire demand and MHD, maximum hourly demand, and that will be used to determine or to design distribution systems. These distribution systems are designed for a period of 30 years. So design period for distribution systems are 30 years. So these are some applications and various types of demand. So first one is MDD, that is nothing but 1.8 times average daily demand. MHD is 2.7 times Q by 24 or 1.5 times MDD by 24. Maximum weekly demand 1.48 times average weekly, monthly 1.28 times average monthly, and coincident draft is the maximum of MDD. Uh, Coincident draft is the maximum of MDD plus fire demand and MHD, and this is used to design distribution systems, and that will be designed for a period of 30 years. Now let's move on to second question. The present population is 28,000. So present population is given as 28,000 for a city. Average demand is 150 LPCD. What is LPCD? Liter per capita per day. So this much liters per capita per day is a demand for that city. Existing water treatment plant has a design capacity of 6,000 meter cube per day. So existing water treatment plant has some design capacity that will be around 6,000 meter cube per day. Population is forecasted to increase 48,000 during next 2 decades or 20 years. So what is the number of years from now when the plant will reach design capacity? So what is that design capacity? 6,000. So when it will reach that design capacity, it is asked. By using arithmetic increase method, we can calculate the number of years from now when the plant will reach design capacity. So option A 8.6 years, option B 12 years, option C 16.5 years, option D 15 years. So calculate the things with arithmetic increase method to get the answer. So what is the number of years from now when the plant will reach design capacity? You can pause this video and calculate it and check the option. Present population denoted by P naught and like that. So the answer is option D 12 years. Now let's see how it is calculated. In arithmetic increase method, Pn is equal, this is the actual basic formula for arithmetic increase method. Pn is equal to P naught plus Nx bar, where P naught is nothing but the present population, present existing population. N is the number of years, X bar is the uh, increase, what is that? Average increase per year, average increase in population per year. So P naught is given as 28,000. N is nothing but 2 decades or 20 years. And what is the X bar? We can calculate 28,000. Okay. X bar is 1,000 per year. How it is calculated? 28,000. 40 actually it will increase to 48,000. So Pn is 48,000. So 48,000 minus 28,000 divided by 20 gives answer as 1,000 per year. So population when design capacity required. So population when design capacity required means we have to calculate with using 6,000 meter cube per day. That is the design period. So 6,000 meter cube per day into 1,000 because we have to convert into liters because per capita demand is given in liters 150 LPCD. So on calculating this value, we can get the capacity or the population that will be required to reach the design capacity of the treatment plant will be 40,000. So actual population forecasted is 48,000. So how much? So it will be below 20 years only because after 20 years it will reach 40,000. But as per design capacity value, the maximum population can reach is 40,000 only. So obviously it will be less than 20 years. So how much is that? N is equal to Pn minus P naught by X bar. So this formula can be rewritten as like this to find N. So Pn is nothing but 40,000 now. Actually the design capacity will reach uh, when the population gets 40,000. So 40,000 minus initial 28,000 divided by X bar. So X bar is nothing but 20,000 per year. So on calculating this, what are these? 28 minus of Pn is 40. 40 minus 28 divided by 1000 gives the answer as 12 years. So this is how we have to calculate the answer. It is something like a basic logic will be followed because population when design capacity required is 40,000, but population will increase to 48,000 in next 20 years. That means obviously we can conclude an answer as uh, the number of years from now when the plant will reach design capacity will obviously be less than 20 years only. So how to calculate that? N is equal to Pn minus P naught by X bar equal to 12 years. And let's see some other one important point. Arithmetic method is used in large and established towns. So what is that established and large town means? When the population reached the saturation. or growth is controlled. So in such situations, we can use arithmetic increase method to forecast the population. So this is the basic formula. Pn is equal to P naught plus n x bar. Here we are determining the with respect to the treatment plant. Now let's move on to third question. Third question is based on fire demand. The fire demand of a city with population 1,40,000 using National Board of Fire Underwriters formula. There are some 4 to 5 important fire demand formulas based on which we are supposed to calculate fire demand. Here they have mentioned the formula or the concept as National Board of Fire Underwriters formula. So based on this formula, we have to find the fire demand. Option A 0.806 Qmax. Option B 48,374 Qmax. Option C 43,168 liters per minute. Option D 1.11 Qmax. So what is the fire demand? In Qmax or liters per meter, they have some thing confused with the units. You have to be careful because as per formula there will be some unit because empirical formula. These are empirical formulas. You have to be aware of. So as per National Board of Fire Underwriters formula, what is the answer? There are many formulas like Kuchling formula, Buston's formula, like that. So as per this underwriters formula, what is the answer? So now let's see the option. Option A is the correct one, 0.806 Qmax. Now let's see the calculation and other important points. So based on this underwriters formula, Q is equal to 4637 root P into 1 minus 0.01 root P, where P has to be given in thousands. Population has to be mentioned in thousands, and Q the obtained answer will be in liters per minute, not in meter cube per second or Qmax. So in order to calculate this value, here the city with population 1,40,000. So 1,40,000 will be converted into how many thousands? 140,000, because we are cancelling out three zeros because we need population in thousands. So cancel out the last three zeros so that we can get the population in thousands. So here 140,000 of population are there. So 4637 root of 140 into 1 minus 0.01 root of 140 gives the answer as what? 48374 liter per minute. 48374 liter per minute as answer. But in the option they have given in Qmax, that is meter cube per second. So in order to convert that, 48374 divided by 1000 divided by 60, that gives the answer as 0.806 meter cube per second. So this is how we have to proceed with fire demand formula. So what are the other three important formulas? Freeman's formula, Kuchling's formula, Buston's formula. In all the formulas, we have to substitute population in thousands and Q in liters per minute. Q Q in liters per minute. Population will be in thousands. So we have to be careful about it. These are empirical formulas. So units matter much. Freeman's formula is given by Q is equal to 1136 P by 5 plus 10. In some books they mention P by 10 plus 10. So here actually P by 5 is the correct one. In some books or in some website they have mentioned as P by 10 plus 10 as formula. So there will be no that much change in the answer part, but exact one is P by 5 plus 10. Kuchling's formula is given by Q is equal to 3182 root P, and Buston's formula is given by 5663 root P. So these are some important formulas we have to remember to calculate fire demand of a city, and population should be in thousands. What? A Q in liters per minute. Now let's move on to fourth question. Which one of the following factors has the maximum effect on the figure of per capita demand of water supply? So there are various factors that affect the per capita demand of a water supply. So what is that demand which has the maximum effect? Option A, quality of water. Option B, industrial demand. Option C, system of supply, whether it is continuous or intermittent. Option D, method of charging of consumption, that is metering, or we can say cost of water. So what is that among these four options? What is the factor that will have the maximum effect on the per capita demand? So your time starts now. Just think about it. Whether it is quality of water, or it is industrial demand, or it is system of supply, or it is the cost or the method of charging of consumption. So the correct option is option A, quality of water. So quality of water is the factor which has the maximum effect on the figure of per capita demand. Now let's see some other factors that affect the per capita demand. Size of city. Whenever the city size gets larger, then the demand will be larger. Climatic conditions. In summer, there will be more requirement of water. In winter, there will be less requirement of water. Type of gentry and habits of people. More sophisticated high class people will use more amounts of water, so that affects the uh, per capita demand. Like if a community is using flushing type system, then there will be more requirement of water, so it changes with respect to the habits of people. Industrial and commercial activities, it will be obvious when there is industry like paper industry, then it will use more amount of water. Quality of water supplies. So whenever the quality increases, then the consumption also gets increased. So we should not misunderstood with the quality of water. When quality of water increases, consumption also increases. Pressure in distribution systems. Actually, usually the pressure has to be 7 meter. 7 meter of water is the pressure. For the first story, the pressure range can be 7 meter of water per head. In for second story, that is second floor, the pressure will be 12 meter of water. That is, we have to add plus 5 meter. Pressure distribution system. Actually, normally the pressure will be 7 meter of water for in first story. In second story, we have to add plus 5 meter, so that it will be around 12 meter. So likewise in the third story. In the third story, plus 5 meter gives what? 17 meter, and so on. And so on. If you go to sixth story, the pressure will be 32 meter. So after that, we have to use booster pumps to supply the water to higher level stories. So another factor is the system of supply, whether it is continuous or intermittent. So in the continuous system of supply, there will be more amount of less usage compared to intermittent supply. Cost of water also affects the demand. Whenever the cost of water is high, demand will be less. So this is how demand will be affected by these factors. Now let's move on to fifth question. If P naught is the initial population of a logistic curve, so there are many methods to determine population and to forecast population. One of those methods is the logistic curve. Here they have given P naught as the initial population. Ps is the saturation population and K is the constant of equality. Then the population of city is given by. So it is a basic relation. We have to identify that basic relation. So four options are there. So what is the correct option that defines the population of the city using that relates the what the three criteria: P naught, Ps, and K. K is the constant of equality. So this is how a logistic curve looks like. An S curve is a growth phase, lag phase, log phase. Like that, we can classify. So what is the relation in this among these four options that determines the population of city relating with PS, P naught, K? T is the time period from the current population. So the correct relation is option B. Option B is the correct relation. Log of PS minus P by P minus log of PS minus P naught by P naught plus K PS T. So P naught P naught is the initial, PS is the saturated, K is the constant of equality, T is the time from the current population. Current population. T is the actual forecasted time. P is the required population after that time T. Now let's see more about logistic curve. This logistic curve, the mathematical solution of this logistic curve is found by P.F. Verhulst. Population after any time from start P is equal to Ps divided by 1 plus m log inverse Nt. So P is the population after any time from start. Any time means T. So this is the T. So P is equal to Ps by 1 plus m log inverse Nt. What is m? M is nothing but Ps minus P naught by P naught. So Ps minus P naught by P naught. And the saturation population is found by using this formula. Ps is equal to 2 P naught P1 P2 minus P1 square into P naught plus P2 divided by P naught P minus P1 square. Sorry, this is P naught P2 actually. This is P naught P2. P naught P2 minus P1 square. And n will be given by n is equal to 1 by T log E log base E. That has to be keep an eye on the base value. Log E can be converted into log base 10 by multiplying 2.303, or we can say n is equal to 2.3 divided by T log base 10 P naught into Ps minus P1 divided by P1 into Ps minus P naught. So these are some important formulas regarding logistic curve method. First basic important formula is this one. P is equal to, that is population after any time T. P is equal to Ps by 1 plus m log inverse Nt. And m is found by this formula, n by this formula, and saturation population. This is the saturation population, Ps. That is after which there will be negligible growth. P is equal to 2 P naught P1 P2 minus P1 square into P naught plus P2 divided by P naught P2 minus P1 square. Now let's move on to sixth question. Sixth question is based on lake stratification and lake zones. There are some lake zones, lake stratification, biological zones like that. So question is, best quality of water has to be drawn from public water supply schemes from a lake. So which is the required state of lake? When we want the best quality of water, this required state of lake should be what? Option A senescent, option B eutrophic, option C oligotrophic, option D mesotrophic. So what is the state of lake required when we want best quality of water to be supplied for public? So these four are the some states of lake, among which one is the one has the best quality. That is, there will be no productivity or zero productivity, so that clear water can be drawn. So the correct option or the correct state of lake required is oligotrophic. Now let's see some other points. So how it is classified this for the state of lake based on the increasing levels of productivity. What is productivity? Vegetation happening in the lake. Or we can say algal growth, algal symbiosis, algal growth, some vegetations growing in lake. So based on the levels of productivity, we can classify lake as oligotrophic, mesotrophic, eutrophic, senescent. Oligotrophic is the one which has very low levels of productivity. That is, no organisms or no algae will exist, or negligible amount of algae and vegetation will exist, so that water will be so clear that we can see the bottom. So this is called the oligotrophic lake, and water from that lake will be drawn for public usage, because it is clear and we can use that water. Euphotic zone extends into hypolimnia. So what is euphotic zone? This is euphotic zone, you can see in this diagram. This is the uppermost layer where the zone will be exposed to sunlight. Zone will be exposed to sunlight. So below which the water will be somewhat cooler. In euphotic zone, water will be warmer. This clear water zone, that is the wherever the whichever the zone or the depth of lake so exposed to sunlight, that zone extends to what? Hypolimnion. So hypolimnion is the zone which is at the bottom. So this zone extends up to hypolimnion. That means depth of water in the oligotrophic lake will be very clear from euphotic zone to hypolimnion. So that's why we can use the water from oligotrophic lake. And what are these stratification zone? These are stratification zone: epilimnion, metalimnion, and hypolimnion. So what is epilimnion? A well mixed surface layer which is exposed to sunlight. What is metalimnion? It is a transition zone of large temperature. This is the large temperature zone, and this is the cool zone. Between two zones, we can get the metalimnion. What is hypolimnion? Cold or unmixed bottom layer. So this is the stratification up to which euphotic zone extends in case of oligotrophic lakes. And what are the three biological zones? Euphotic, littoral, benthic. So littorals means it's a side uh, zone, zone existing in the side of lakes. So these are the littoral zones, and these are euphotic zone, that is the upper part of the lake, and benthic is the lower part of the lake. So these are the biological zones in regarding to lake. In lake we can classify lake into stratification as epilimnion, metalimnion, hypolimnion. And with respect to biological zone we can classify as euphotic, littoral, benthic. And with respect to increasing levels of productivity, we can classify those as oligotrophic, mesotrophic, eutrophic, senescent. So eutrophic means high vegetation content, and algal bloom will be there in eutrophic zone. And what is senescent? Senescent is the most uh, decomposed organic matter will be present in the senescent zone, so that the lake will be like a black tarnish color. So lake water will be highly black, and high decomposed organic matter will be present in the senescent zone. Mesotropic means somewhat medium level of vegetation matter will be found. In the oligotrophic, low productivity, no vegetation matter will be found. Now let's move on to seventh question. Seventh question is based on intakes. So this is a typical intake tower. An intake should be present in a typical locations. And which of the following options or statement is false? Which of the following locations are the factors governing the location is false regarding the location of intakes? Whether option A, intake should be near to treatment plant. Is it true or false? Option B, it should be such that lowest silt level can be kept above the low water level of the source. Option C, free from sources of contamination. Option D, water drawn to treatment plant by gravity. So what is that factor which is false in relation to location of intakes? So whether it is near to treatment plant or not, whether lowest silt level can be kept above the low water level of the source. So the sources is free from contamination, or the water treatment plant has to be drawn by gravity. So what is the false option? So this is the false zone, because lowest silt level can be kept below the low water table. Silt level has to be kept below the low water table, not above the low water level of the source. So this is wrong. So other three are true regarding factors governing location of index. So it should be near to treatment plant. It should be near to. It should be free from contamination, and water can be drawn to treatment plant by gravity. So let's see other factors. So draw water source from in all seasons. It should draw water from all season. Unlike summer or winter, we cannot depend on the season, because in a typical intake, water should be available in all seasons. Free from currents and should be in stable ground. It should not be located in a river or like that in a current in a moving water. It should be located in such a way that it can be lake or like that, because that water will be free from currents or velocity, and it should be in stable ground, not in undulated or eroded ground. Erosion of bank should be minimum. Lowest silt level below the low water table of the source. So silt level should be kept lower than the water level and capable of being dredged to clear silt deposits. So whenever there is deposits of silt, that intake should be capable of dredging that deposits. It should be capable. So these are some governing factors that decide the location of intakes. Now let's move on to eighth question. Eighth question is based on aquifer and pumps and wells, actually tube wells and aquifers. For same drawdown into observation wells. So typically observation wells will be located here. Okay, this is the main well. These two are observation wells. Are located at a distance of R1 and R2. So this is the R1, this is the R2. The time after start of pumping are T1 and T2 hours. The relation which holds good is. So they have given two observation wells and their location and the time after the start of pumping. We have to find the relation. Four options are there, whether option A, B, C or D. So what is the correct relation? This will be based on the actual formula. In the actual formula, we have to consider other parameters as constant except the time and location, radial distances. So what is the correct relation that holds good with the given scenario? So the correct option is this one. T2 is equal to R2 by R1 the whole square into T1. So how it is arrived based on this formula. Drawdown is given by S is equal to Q by 4 pi T. T is nothing but transmissibility. Transmissibility is given by K times B. K means coefficient of permeability. B is nothing but width of aquifer. Width of aquifer. Confined aquifer we can say. So Q by 4 pi T into log base E 4TT divided by R square A. So here you can find R square, here you can find the T. So T and R square are directly related. So from this we can arrive this relation for two observation wells. So T2 by T1 is equal to R2 by R1 the whole square. So this is how we can find. So S is equal to this Q by 4 pi T log base E 4TT divided by R square A minus 0.5772. So this is the relation we have to use so that we can arrive this relation. T2 is directly proportional to R square, R2 square. And what are the other basic formulas that will come under tube wells and wells and aquifer? For unconfined aquifer, discharge will be given by pi k h2 square minus h1 square divided by 2.3 log base 10 r2 by r1. Confined aquifer 2 pi k ez. Why k why z there is here z is not there, here z is there because here it is confined aquifer. Confined aquifer means there will be confining layer between the what water is present, between water is present, there will be two confining layers. So what is that width or depth of confining layer? Is it, or we can say b. So that factor or that depth is given as 2 pi kz. Kz can be written as transmissibility also. So 2 pi kz s1 minus s2. S1 minus s1 minus s2 is drawdown, and r2 by r2 r1 are radial distances up from for the observation wells. For recuperating test, this is the basic formula. Q is equal to 2.3 by t log base 10 s2 by s1 into a into s. So these are some basic formulas that will come under uh, tube wells and well hydraulics. Now let's move on to ninth question. Ninth question is based on infiltration gallery. They have given Q value 600 meter cube per day is obtained from infiltration gallery that is placed at 6 meter depth from water table. For example, this is the water table. So this is the depth actually 6 meter. K is 100 meter per day. Coefficient of permeability is 100 meter per day. Drawdown does not exceed 4 meter and the radius of influence is given as 100 meter. We have to find the length of gallery. So what is the length of gallery actually? It is the distance perpendicular to the screen. So this is the length of gallery. In the projected view we can find like this. So this is the length of gallery. This has to be found. Okay, diagram is clumsy. We can see option A 37.5 meter, option B 47.5 meters, option C 35.68 meters, option D 25.63 meters. Basically only one formula is there with respect to infiltration gallery, and we have to use that formula to obtain the length of gallery. So the correct length of gallery is 37.5. So 37.5 meter is the length of gallery. Now let's see the calculations. So Q is given as 600 meter cube per day, and hatch, that is depth is 6 meter, and small hatch is nothing but, you can see in this formula here, the formula is where the formula lies. For infiltration gallery, Q is given by KL into h square minus capital H square minus small h square divided by 2r. R is the radius of influence. K is nothing but coefficient of permeability. L is length of infiltration gallery. Q is the discharge. Capital H is the depth of infiltration gallery. Small h is the depth minus drawdown. Small h is the difference between depth and drawdown. So 6 minus 4, 2 meter. So we have to substitute all the things with the correct units. Here we have meter per day. Here also we have meter per day. Okay, we have, with respect to correct units, we have to substitute all the things to get length of gallery, and that length will be nothing but the perpendicular to screen. So length of gallery is 37.5 meter. We should not confuse length or width of infiltration gallery. Width is this. This is the width. This is the width value. We are not finding this. We are finding the length value. Length is this. Okay. This is the length we are actually finding. This is the length part. And we can call infiltration gallery as horizontal wells and these are constructed usually at shallow depths along the banks of rivers to, to draw the water. So these are some of the important points regarding infiltration gallery. Now let's move on to last question, 10th question. 10th question is based on geometric method of growth rate. They have given the present population 56 lakhs and estimated population in the next 3 decades or 3 years is nothing but the double of the present population. So we have to find the rate of increase of population per year. Option A 3.13 percentage, option B 2.31 percentage, option C 4.53 percentage, option D 5.0 percentage. So what is the rate of increase of population per year with respect to the given scenario? Method followed is geometric method. So there are two important formulas in geometric method of forecasting population. So one formula has to be used here to find the rate of increase of population per year. Now let's see the option. Option B is the correct one, 2.31 percentage. How it is calculated? By using this formula. Pn is equal to P naught e power Kn. We have to find K value. So they have given a forecasted population as double of the present. So 2 P naught is the Pn value is equal to P naught Ekn. So P naught get cancelled out. So 2 equal to Ekn. N here is what? 30 years. So E power 30k. We should not use decades. We should use only the years value. So that's why 2 is equal to E power 30k. E power 30k. From this, we have to find the k value. So k value is found as 0.231. That can be written in percentage as 2.31 percentage. So in this geometric method, we have to use this formula only, not this formula. This is another formula regarding geometric method of rise. Pn is equal to P naught into 1 plus R bar by 100 power n, where R bar is nothing but product of increasing rates whole power 1 by n. How many rate of increase? So that amount has to be divided by n. This n is not related with the years or decades. This n is related with the how many hours we are calculating, how many rate of increases. So R bar is R1, R2, R3 up to Rn whole power whole root whole nth root. We can say nth root of products of rate of increases, rates of increase. So Pn is equal to P naught into 1 plus R bar by 100 power n. Here this n is decades. This n is number of decades. So this is how we have to calculate uh, in case of geometric rate of increase method. So we are at the end of this video. Now let's see some other topic in the next video in the environmental engineering series. Thank you. Thank you for watching.